What's up, guys? We're back. We're gonna do kind of a different video. We're gonna watch this basically combat medical skills, care under fire, and it's by a cool channel called UF Pro. I'll link their channel in the description below. Charlie's gonna get up in the shit again. But I want to cover some of this stuff. Number one, because a lot of TCCC and March is very, very good and important to know, but some of it has to be tweaked a little bit for this specific conflict. So I think we can, it's good to talk about this stuff here. And it's not just for medics like me. This is for people, anybody coming here, because 90% of the time, if you get injured, you have to help yourself here. You're not going to get the fucking Blackhawks coming in and evacuating you to the closest stab point or fob. Okay. You're going to have to throw a fucking tourniquet on, and Ivan and Igor are gonna have to pull you out on your jacket, by your jacket or your hood. Okay, so it's much different here. So real quick, my name is Saxon. I go by Vegas here in Ukraine. I joined the International Legion in January of 2023. I'm still in Ukraine. I'm no longer with the Legion. I'm with Azov, specifically the Azov International Battalion, which is pretty new. And we are currently looking for more people to be a part of this team. If you qualify, if you have the motivation, hit me up in my email. It's linked below. Or you can shoot me a message on any of the apps, WhatsApp, Signal, Telegram, that kind of shit. And we'll talk about it, see if you're right for the job. So before we jump into this, I want to kind of give a little bit of my background, just because kind of my credentials, okay? There's a lot of amazing combat medics out here in Ukraine, and there's a lot of people who claim to be combat medics that have no idea what they're doing. So I was an EMT, licensed EMT out of Texas before I came to Ukraine. When I came to Ukraine, I got a few different certificates, including my CMC, my Combat Medic Corpsman certification, and I am a certified combat medic here in Ukraine now. I did operate on the front as a combat medic, but it was to not any great effect, because the casualties that we took were instantly KIA. There was nothing to save. So with that said, I want to jump into this and kind of talk about it, okay? I watched this a long time ago. I remember watching this a while ago, a couple years ago, but it's been a while.
Tactical combat casualty care for all combatants. This short lecture is not intended for medics. You guys have and need more knowledge, but the principles of TCCC are the same for everyone involved.
Tactical combat casualty care, right? TCCC, you'll hear that a lot.
Treat the casualty, prevent additional casualties, and complete the mission. This is just a rough guideline. Every situation requires adaptation. Don't only go by the checklist. This way you'll kill somebody one day or really piss somebody off. Nothing is written in stone, and if your guy is shot in the hand and you start cutting off his youth pro pants, which he bought himself, as the way you were taught in medic school, well, get ready for a slap with a good hand. So,
the amount of times you'll hear people complain when they're injured and the medics start cutting off all their kit. They're like, no, it's like, it's worse for them to see their expensive ass kit that they bought themselves start to get ruined than, trying to treat the fucking bullet wound in their stomach.
care under fire. This is a phase where you're still being shot at. And like right now, good medicine is bad tactics, and the best medicine during the firefight is fire superiority. So that means there will be no bandages going on, as we need the rifle downrange. So we take cover and return fire.
These are short videos, so I'm going to stop it, okay? And talk a little bit about each step. This is so important, this one right here, that a lot of people seem to space, right? Sometimes you'll see in movies or in games even, somebody on the squad will get hit, or you'll take a casualty on your team, and it's all hands on deck, and everybody's getting to that person, which isn't realistic, especially in this conflict. The very first thing you have to do is eliminate the threat, or at least suppress the target, put rounds downrange in the direction of where the fire came from. Okay, so if we're on a patrol, You know, we're in stagger formation. Maybe there's 8 of us, and the middle guy gets hit from our right side, bam, and he drops. Everybody should be flipping, you know, moving to their, or swinging over to their right, and then calling out contact right, contact wherever, contact, and just laying down fucking fire, right? You want to make sure there's no other casualties taken. You want to get the heads down. If not, if you're not going to kill the people that just hit your team, you want to get their heads down, establish fire superiority, and then hopefully move your person out. And they'll probably cover that right here.
We should not be hasty and run to our casualty like a dumb medic in a Steven.
Yo, this is, yeah, he says right here in a Steven Spielberg movie. This was actually cool, the way that they had that little scenario play out. The dude in the middle got shot in his leg, and the team scattered, which, in my opinion and experience, is very realistic, right? It's not like, again, it's not like you'll see in training or in movies where it's like this perfect, everybody's perfectly trained, everybody knows exactly where the threat came from, and they eliminate them. No, it's fucking confusing, it's chaos. People are, you know, you're dropping down, you're trying to figure out what's going on. So this is cool.
Spielberg movie. We need to find out if we have any more casualties, how many casualties do we have, and then establish a plan how to evacuate our casualties from point X. There are many ways around that. If we can get to him safely, we grab and go. A quick tourniquet application is better to do in some cover because it's not so simple as it sounds. But if you can't do that, at least apply direct pressure to the artery or do a stopgap to the wound. If we can't get to our...
Okay, a couple things here that we're trained a little bit differently here in Ukraine. These are great. This is great fundamentals though, regardless. Get to him. If you can move him, move him. Something I wanted to mention too, a lot of plate carriers, especially here in Ukraine now, have built-in pull straps, right? So some plate carriers, let me see if mine has one. So some plate carriers, right? Oh, this fucking thing again. Okay, well, that's not working at all. Anyways, on the back of the plate carrier, there's a strap you could pull right here. I know it's really shitty, right, to see, but right there, right? Most have that option, but now they have it to where basically it's the same. It's the same type of a strap, but it's more secured, and it's kind of fed through the threading and stuff of the actual plate carrier. Because we've seen a lot of the times people start yanking on that, just rips right the fuck off. Especially if it's a cheap, like, shitty plate carrier. But now they make them so when you pull on that handle, there's like a cord or, sorry, I'm forgetting my words here. Like a longer strap, right? So you pull that out, and then like 6 feet of strap comes out, so you can actually try to run back over to cover, start pulling them in like this. You can drag them from a further distance, and most importantly, when FPVs and Russian drones see a casualty, that is a gold mine for them, because they know there's going to be multiple people trying to help this person or carry this person. So they can try to get multiple kills with one drone strike. So with this strap, you can be pulling your casualty. If an FPV comes, wham, it hits your casualty, vaporizes him, you're still most likely going to be okay. So you can keep moving. Rather than if you're just on the strap on his back right here, and it has no extra 6 feet or whatever, that FPV comes in, you guys are both toast. Okay? So, but aside from that, there was a couple things I saw here. So he says, hold on.
To the wound.
Okay, yeah, direct pressure, always your number one go-to for massive bleeding. Massive bleeds are the number one cause of casualty out here in the Ukraine-Russia conflict. Massive bleeding and not being able to manage that massive bleed. So people start taking an arterial bleed is what we call it, right? And this is the kind of that spurting blood. It's not the oozing blood right? That you get if you scrape or you cut your arm or something like that. It's like the that's bad. Okay, so you need to stop that. And the number one casualty is coming from people that are not able to do this. They're not trained properly. Actually, recently I saw this. This was crazy. I saw this picture of a guy on the front who was not trained to use his tourniquet. So he took a big shot, some kind of shrapnel around in his arm, and there's a big hole, and it was a massive bleed. And he just jammed his whole tourniquet in like this to stop it. And it worked. The guy was alive, but he didn't use his tourniquet where you put it high and tight. You crank, you strap it, you crank it down. No, he just went whoosh, and stuck his fucking tourniquet in his hole. Sorry. So so pressure number one. If you're running up on him and you start seeing that spurting, lay a knee on him, drop an elbow on him, something to where you can still move you can still operate and move. You're still combat effective, but you're mitigating that bleed, right? You're at least starting to slow that bleed, because people can bleed out very quickly. Rule of thumb is roughly 2 to 3 minutes. We've seen it faster depending on where the bleed is. And now he said, ideally you want to apply your tourniquet in a safe zone. Absolutely, this is ideal. But unfortunately, in this conflict, there are very, very few, very little safe zones. So if you run up on your casualty, we call it a hasty tourniquet, or a tourniquet in the red, or a tourniquet on the X. Basically, you can run up, if you can move him a little bit, shift him off of that X, right, the exact point where he was hit, and then throw a tourniquet on him. You have to get really good with your tourniquet timing and make sure it's efficient, make sure it's tight. But the amount of time that it could take from you to get to the casualty, pull him back into a safe area, which, like I said, you're going to struggle to find one out here, that your casualty is probably going to be dead. So if you can get up to him, throw a knee on the bleed, he's going to scream at you and punch you or whatever if he's not unconscious. Get a tourniquet on, strap it, crank it. Doesn't have to be perfect. You just want to make sure it's tight and at least slows the bleeding. And then you can move. Okay, so that's something that's a little bit different here. Of course, ideally, you would get to really nice safe cover and then start your assessment and your interventions.
If we can't get to our guy, we try to scream, radio him to move to cover. Get to cover! Apply sulfate.
Stay as low as you can. Okay, popping your head up like that, if you were hit in this exact position and then you throw your fucking head up and you're sitting straight up like that, they're gonna take your face off. So stay as low as you can. Try to roll over, get that tourniquet up on your leg or in your arm, wherever you're at.
And expect our teammates to remain in the fight if able to. If we're not able to move our casualty to a safe...
Okay, I want to cover that. Big thing is, especially here, is you gotta call out to your casualty while you're in somewhat of a safe area still. Hey, are you okay? Are you alive? Where are you hit? Can you apply a tourniquet? Can you help yourself, basically? Can you crawl to cover? Talking with them, trying to mitigate as many additional casualties as possible, including yourself, before you run out there and possibly get hit, right? So you want to try to get this process of treatment, this process of casualty care underway as fast as possible. The fastest way to do that is to call out to them and say, hey, start helping yourself, right?
Safe place, roll him on the stomach.
And this also would help if you're calling out to them and you see, you're looking at them. They call it like a distance assessment, kind of. So where you're behind cover and you're looking like, okay, where's he hit, whatever, and you see half of his head's missing, you're not going to fucking prioritize that casualty, okay? This guy's done. He's out of the fight. You need to move on to if there's any other casualties or winning that firefight.
Stomach. Get to a safe place, roll him on the stomach. Let's say we're going into a building.
Super cool move right there. I mean, that is fucking, that's fly. I don't know, in a building or something, maybe that is doable. I don't know how applicable that is here in Ukraine in like a wooded area or something. But watch that again. Watch him step over him and flip him.
Let's not able to move our casualty to a safe place, roll him on the stomach. Let's say we're going in.
Ideally, if you're able to roll him, if he's choking on his own vomit, he's choking on his own blood, he's got some kind of facial trauma where it's blocking his airway. If you roll him, ideally gravity will help kind of pull that shit out and open up his airway.
Into a building. First man goes.
If we're going into a building, this ideally never fucking do this if you can avoid it. It's we talk about this a lot here in Ukraine, but there's this idea that CQB is, you know, it's super prevalent and you need to know how to, you know, enter clear rooms and like Navy SEAL John Wick style. Of course, these are important skill sets and they should be trained. I'm sure I could train them much, much better than I know them myself. But the bottom line is you never want to go into that building if you can avoid it. You want to shoot as many rockets and warheads and grenades and light machine gun rounds into that building until it crumbles if possible before you enter, because this will happen 99% of the time.
Let's say we're going into a building.
Boom. If not, smoke the whole fucking squad, right? And they're not always lucky enough to get hit in the shoulder like this. You know, get smacked in the face. That guy's completely out of the fight. 99% of the time, if they know you're coming, right? These breach and clear tactics that we see Navy SEALs use and maybe Rangers, SAS are really, really good and efficient if the enemy does not know you're there, right? So they're all playing a fucking poker game inside of a warehouse or something, and you're stacked up on a door, you're able to throw in a flashbang, move in, eliminate everybody right on, okay? But when you got Russians sitting at every fucking window, and you got one that's prone under, he's got a line of sight underneath a couch, straight to the front door, right? And you're walking up in a full stack like this.
Building.
Bro. Not to mention, if you're stacked up like this, drones are gonna come find you in a millisecond. They're gonna be like, wait, they're all that close? This is easy. Swam! There goes your whole fire team.
First man goes down, and the last man has time to roll our casualty on his stomach. With this, we do a sloppy A from the March algorithm. Every man.
March is something that we will cover in one of these videos. M is for massive hemorrhage or massive bleed. A is for airway. R is for respirations, your breathing. C is for circulation, your blood flow, blood circulation. H is for hypothermia and / head injury. This, and the way it's spelt out is in order of importance. Excuse me, like I said, massive bleed's #1 issue. So M is #1.
Management, which we'll cover in the next video. We generally don't do this in care under fire, but this is a simple way to make sure our casualty is not suffocating on his own tongue or blood. Sounds matter of fact, but we're buying some extra time while staying in an active situation, so we can eliminate the threat and come back for our guy when we can. Oh, and also, if our guy has a sport weapon or mission-sensitive items, switch his weapon with yours and get his backpack. That sums up care under fire, since we eliminated the hostile threat. Now we're going into tactical field care, but that in the next video.
Cool, dude. These videos are so rad. They do such a good job. UF Pro, man, check them out, follow them. They know absolutely what they're talking about. So this is cool. I like this kind of content because it's something that I'm a little more experienced in and I've gotten a lot of training in. And these March algorithm and TCCC and PAWS, PAWS, all of these acronyms that have been used for, at this point, over a decade for combat medicine, some of them are becoming, they're all great rules of thumb, but more and more and more as we move into modern combat and newer technology, these algorithms and these acronyms need to be changed. The actual the actual SOPs and systems and strategies need to completely, some of them need to change, because all of this stuff was built off of Afghan and the Middle East, right? It's much different for that kind of fighting. When you're fighting an enemy on a hillside, half a kilometer or a kilometer away, if not longer, it's going to be much different than when you've got a Russian on the other side of the wall from you. Okay, so this changes. The principles stay the same, right? Massive bleed will always be the most important thing to fix, but how you fix that will determine where the fucking enemy is in comparison to you and your casualty. So very cool stuff. Hey, like I said at the beginning of the video, if you want to come check us out, Azov, you're interested in the International Battalion, we've got a lot of cool shit going on with this battalion. And, you know, we all sign NDAs and stuff when it comes to this, but I'm stoked about it. All the guys and girls are really stoked about it on the team. Hit me up in the email, and I'll be able to give you a little more info, and we can even start your process of getting involved, okay? Shoot me an email, message me on Instagram, Facebook, dude, anything. Hit me up. I'm on my phone messaging people all day, okay? Please like, comment, share, subscribe, do all that shit. I love you. I'll see you in the next video.